Hello and welcome back to the second video of the topic Subject Verb Conquered. I hope you have watched the part 1 video and have been revising the first 6 rules that we have learned in the previous video. Now let's continue and move on to the next rule, that is rule number 7.
Yes. What does the seventh rule says? The verb agrees with the first subject when the subject consists of the two nouns or pronoun joined by the connectors with, together with, as well as, or along with. See, just now in the sixth rule, I told you two subjects are there and different in number. So if the subjects are different in number, so you are going to choose the verb according to the subject nearest. But here in this case, it is somewhat vice versa. Like, the politician together with his friends is expected today. Now, you see, there are two subjects. Okay, which are the two subjects? The politician, singular, along with, together with his friends, plural. So, one is singular, one is plural. But look at the connector. The connector is together with. So, whenever two different subjects, different in number subjects are joined with the connector together with, along with, as well as, we are going to choose the verb according to the or as per the first subject, not the nearest one. Okay. So, here the first subject is the politician, it is singular. Second subject is friends, it is plural. But because of the connector together with, we are going to take the verb according to the first subject. And the first subject is singular. So, the verb is, that is singular. Okay. So, there is a little bit twist, whenever there is a connector, when there is a connector like either or, neither, nor, two different subjects, different number subject, we are going to take the nearest one. But when two subjects are there, like different in number subjects, and if the connectors are with, together with, as well as, along with, then the verb will be as per the first subject. It will be, try to remember. Next. Vidya as well as Vihan is going to the market with mother. Now, this is very simple, like, because both the subjects are in the singular form, Vidya and Vihan. Singular and singular, whatever. But what does this rule say? Whenever the subjects are connected with as well as, just select the verb as per the first subject. So, which is the first subject over here? Vidya. And Vidya is the name of one single girl. It's singular. Okay, Vidya is singular. So, we are going to take the verb also singular. Next. The passengers along with the driver were killed in the accident. Okay, the passengers along with. So, the connector is along with. Two subjects. Which are the two subjects? Passengers, plural, driver, singular. Okay, two subjects are joined with the connector and along with. So, the verb is going to agree with the first subject. It's going to agree with the first subject. And what's the first subject? Passengers. It is plural. So, verb we are going to take is in the plural form. Okay. Next one more example. The team captain as well as his players is anxious. Okay, the team captain. Now, captain is one. We have a team. In the team, there are many members. There are many players. But the captain is one. Okay. So, the team captain, one, singular. As well as his players, plural. Okay. So, now this is singular and this is plural. And as per the rule, if the subjects are joined with the connector as well as, we are going to select the verb as per the first subject. And the first subject is team captain, singular. The verb also should be singular. Okay. So, try to remember. Don't get confused between the sixth rule and the seventh rule. Sixth rule says that whenever the connectors are either or, neither nor, we are going to select the verb according to the nearest one. Okay. But the seventh rule says whenever the subjects are connected with the connector, with, together with, along with, as well as, we are going to choose or we are going to select the verb as per the first subject. Okay. Try to understand. Let's move on to the next rule. Yes. What does the next rule say? The words, now these are the singular indefinite pronoun. Now, as I already told you, indefinite singular, there are some the indefinite pronoun which are always singular and there are some more indefinite pronoun which are always plural, and there are still some more which can be sometimes singular or also plural, depends upon the sentence. So here I am talking about the singular indefinite pronoun which are always singular, and as I am already saying that it is always singular, the verb also need to be in the singular form. The words each. Now which are these singular indefinite pronouns? Each, each one, everyone, everybody, anyone, anybody, no one, nobody, someone, somebody, either, neither. Okay, I am not talking about either or, I am talking only about either. Okay, this is either, not either or. Same way, it's only neither. I'm not talking about neither nor. I have already done with either or, neither nor, with different kinds of different number subjects and even the same number subject also. So here I am talking about either and neither. Okay, please don't get confused. So whenever we have this kind of singular indefinite pronoun, we are going to take the verb also in the singular. They are all singular. These all words are singular and it requires a singular verb. Let's look at the example. Each of these pastries is delicious. Now you may get confused or you may get attracted that, oh, we are talking about these or we are talking about pastries. Okay. So even though we have this kind of words, it may be confusing you. But please keep in mind the sentence is having a singular indefinite pronoun. So whenever the sentence is having a singular indefinite pronoun, you have to use a singular verb. Okay. So because of the word indefinite pronoun each, we are using the verb is, that is in the singular form. Okay. So please don't get confused on looking at the words like these or pastries and all. No, it is singular. Next. Everybody is anxious to know who is he. Once again, when we are talking about everybody, we think like we are talking about too many people. But no, we are taking that all people as one unit, as one group. Or so we are talking as like everybody. Everybody is one. It is the whole set of people, the whole group of people is been considered as one unit. So it is singular and we are going to take the verb in the singular form. So everybody is singular. Next, everyone was asked to write an essay. Once again, when I say everyone, the thing may come in your mind, oh, everyone, each and everyone. Yeah, but we are taking that whole group or that whole class as one unit. So we are going to take the verb also singular. Next. Every one of them is working hard. So even though when you are looking at as I told you already in the first example, don't look at the words like these, pastries and all, because try to put your attention towards the singular indefinite pronoun and try to remember the rule. Whenever you have a singular indefinite pronoun, the verb should be singular. So try to attract your attention towards the word everyone, either no, instead of putting them on the word them. It is singular, so the verb also should be in the singular form. So every one of them is singular, is working hard. Next, last example. Each human being is unique, isn't it? So here once again we have a singular indefinite pronoun that is each, and because the rule says singular indefinite pronoun will always take a singular verb, so it is going to take a singular verb that is. So each human being is unique, singular, is unique. The verb should be singular, even though it is pointing towards each and every human being, but we are taking that all human being, all the living being, human being as one group, as one unit. Okay. I hope this is getting clear to you. Please don't get confused. Try to understand. Next, let us move on to the ninth rule. Now, what does the ninth rule says? In the sentence beginning with the words like here or there, the subject is placed after the verb. Since here or there is not the subject, here and there is not the subject. So what about the subject? Subject comes after the verb. Now these many sentences, all the sentences that we have seen, all the examples that we have seen, the subject were all before the verb, isn't it? So look at the subject and finalize the verb. But in the case where the sentence is starting with here and there is a slight difference. The subject comes after the verb. So as it is, already said over here, there, they are not the subject. They are not the subject. So where is the subject? Subject, you have to look for the subject after the verb. Since here and there is not the subject, the verb agrees with what follows after. So you have to look for the subject after the verb. Say for example, there is a gift on the table. So as it is already said, here and there they are not the subject. So what is the subject over here? Yes, the subject is gift, isn't it? A gift. I am talking about a gift. I am talking about one single gift. So the verb should be singular. It is. Okay. The same example when I make the plural form of the word gift. Okay, it becomes gifts. So there are gifts on the table. There are gifts on the table. So in the first example, I was talking about one single gift, and that's why the verb is also singular. Second example, I'm talking about more than one gift. So only one thing that I want to say over here in this rule is whenever the sentence is starting with here or there, try to look for the word. You have to look for the subject after the verb rather than finalizing the verb only on looking at the words like here and there. No, because they are not the subject. Next, here are the notebooks. So what is the subject? Notebooks. It's in the plural form. So verb also should be in the plural form, that is are. Here is the notebook. Okay, so here what is the subject again? Notebook. One single notebook. So the verb also should be in the singular form. So the only thing that I want to say in this rule is whenever the sentence is starting with here or there, look for the subject after the verb. See now the subjects are here, and all the four sentences you can see the subject is after the verb. Okay, subject is following the verb. Okay, let's move on to the 10th rule. Next rule. Yes. Now in English there are some words where the words are ending with s. As normally when the words are ending with s, like as I told you in the beginning of this class, like chairs, tables. So whenever we're making the noun in the plural form, we are adding the s. But there are some words in English which with the adding of s is not making the word into plural form. Why? Because the spelling itself is ending with s. So that s which is there at the end of the word is not making the word plural. The spelling itself is ending with s. Say for example, nouns such as civics. So what is the spelling of civics? C-I-V-I-C-S. Okay, so if you are not adding that s, it doesn't make any sense. So that S is not added to make that word in the plural form. That is the spelling itself. Next, mathematics. Spelling itself is ending with S. Aerobics. Economics, ending with S. Physics. Dynamics, ending with S. Dollars. Measles. Now what do you mean by measles? It's a kind of a disease. Measles. Measles and mumps. That is a kind of a disease. News. Okay. Wages. Okay, so for example, like news, if you remove that S, it becomes a new word. Okay, news means the news that you get, day-to-day news. If you remove that S, the word changes. It says new, isn't it? The same way, these are all the words where the spelling itself is ending with S, that S at the end of the word is not making the word into the plural form. So in this cases, so don't get confused, in this cases, the word itself, the spelling itself is ending with S, it is not making the plural form. So obviously it is going to take a singular verb. So these words always require a singular verb. Say, for example, civics is not an easy subject. Okay. So here it is civics. So don't think that here the word is ending with S, so it will make maybe a plural verb. No. So as I told you, civics spelling itself is ending with S. It's not making the word into the plural form. So we are going to take the verb singular. That news is interesting. Now news is always taken in the singular form. Whenever, if you are reading out like 10 news, or if you are going to speak out only one news, we are going to read only one news, but news is always news, and it is always going to take a singular verb. Like for example, if you are going to read out 10 news, in the beginning you say today's news is. We don't say today's news are. Wrong. Okay. News is always in the singular form. Even if you are reading out 10 news, we are going to say today's news is. Okay. So that news is interesting, not are. Mathematics is my favorite subject. Okay, so mathematics is not making the word plural. So we are going to take a singular subject, or singular verb, singular verb. So try to keep in mind these words in English. It's not making the word plural. The spelling itself is ending with S, and rather these all words will always take a singular verb. Let's move on to the next rule. Yes, what does the next rule says? Nouns such as scissors, tweezers, trousers, shears, pants, glasses, spectacles. Glasses means, you know, the glasses, the spectacles, tongs, binoculars, they always require the plural verb. Now, these words are not ending, as now there is a slight changes between the rule number 10 and 11. And in 10, as I told you, the spelling itself is ending with S. But here the spelling is not ending in S, but we are always using these words in the plural form. We are using these words, or we are using this noun with the plural form, in the plural form only, with the S and in the plural form only. Okay. So that is why. So why these words are in the plural form? Why? Because, and it requires a plural verb. Why? Because there are two parts of this thing. There are two parts. So what does that mean? Two parts. For example, when you're talking about scissors, we have two hands. Okay, two hands, and two hands together make one scissors. So that is a why. Same way like trousers, isn't it? There are two legs. It's combining together and making one trousers, making one pant. Same way glasses, spectacles. There are two glasses, or there are two frames, or there are two glasses that work together makes a single spectacles. So that is a why. These are the things. Same way binoculars, you know, there are two, and same way tweezers, scissors, and all, isn't it? So there are two parts of these things, and that is why we are always using these words in the plural form. We always use this word in the plural form. Okay. For example, these trousers are made of linen. Okay. So here once again I am talking about like trousers And as I told you, these words are always going to be used in the plural form. So trousers are made of linen. Next, these scissors are too dull to cut with. Isn't it? Scissors. Again, it's having two parts, hands together, making one scissor. So it is going to be in the plural form. The verb that we are using is always in the plural form. Next, my pants are dirty. I need to wash them. Them. What is this them here? Pants. Okay. So my pants are dirty. Okay. So here, even though if you are talking about your one pant, you are talking about one pants. But still, when you are talking, you don't say pant. We say pants. My pants are dirty. Okay. My pants are dirty. I need to wash them. Even though if you are talking here, we will be talking about only one single pant. Okay. But still, we are using in the sentence in the form always in the plural form. Why? Why? Because it is having two things. There are two parts. There are two parts in these things. So try to understand. Now, there is a little confusing, as you know, in the previous rule, in the 10th rule, the spelling itself is ending with S. So we are always using a singular verb. But here we are always using these words in the plural form. We are using it in the plural form. So we are going to use a plural verb. Okay. Next, we move on to the next rule. Rule number 12. Yes, what does the 12th rule say? We use singular verb with the distance, period of time, sum of money, etc. when considered as a unit. Whenever we are considered, what does that rule say? For example, when you're talking about a sum of money, talking about a distance traveled, or we're talking about time, period of time. When you're talking about such thing as one unit, we take the verb in the singular form. Say for example, 3 miles is too far to walk. So here, what is the subject? 3 miles. So even though we have 3 miles, even though I'm talking about 3 miles, you may say that it's not 1 mile, it's more than 1, it's 3 miles. But still, we are taking that 3 miles as one unit. And it is showing the distance traveled. It is talking about the distance traveled. And as it is saying, when you are talking about the distance traveled, you are always using the singular verb. So we are going to use the singular verb. Next, 5 years. You may say like, it's not 1 year, 5 years. Yeah, obviously, but it is talking about the period of time. It is talking about the period of time, 5 years, and we are taking that 5 years as one unit. So 5 years is the maximum sentence of that offense. Okay, so 5 years is, we are talking about a period of time. 8 hours is the normal working hours. So here, even though if you are saying 8 hours, but that 8 hours is taken together as one unit. So again, it is going to take a singular verb. $10,000 is a big sum. Once again, 10,000, it's talking about a sum of money. And when you're talking about sum of money and you're taking it as whole, it is going to take a singular verb. So $10,000 is a big sum. So here again you have to keep in mind, whenever you are talking about the distance or the time period or the sum of money or the weight of something like in kgs and or something like that. So you are going to use a singular verb. It is always going to take a singular verb because you are going to take that whole thing as one unit. One unit, so it is going to take a subject singular. Let's move on to the last one. Yes, be with me. The last rule, it's about the collective nouns. So now collective noun is a bit tricky because collective nouns is sometimes it takes a singular verb or it may also take a plural verb. So what is the scenario for that? In a sentence, if the collective noun refers to the group as a unit, to the group as one unit, it takes a singular verb. Okay. So whenever the collective noun is referring the group as one unit, it is going to take a singular. It is going to take a singular verb. But if it means the collective noun. But if the collective noun refers to the individuals in the group or the part that makes up the group, then the verb should be a bit confusing. So here you know already what is a collective noun. So you have to look at now this. Whenever there is a collective noun in the sentence, it is most of the time people think that it's always singular. Most of the time it is singular, but sometimes you have to keep in mind in the sentence the collective noun is used, but it is not used as one unit. We are talking about each and every single person in that collective noun, each and every single person or each and every single unit in that collective noun. Let's look at an example. The committee was formed in 2015. So here it is taking the committee is been taken is committee is the collective noun, and in this first example we are taking the committee as a collective noun, as the whole committee as one unit. Okay, so that is why it is singular. Okay, the committee was formed, singular. Why? Because we are talking about the whole committee as one. But now look at the next sentence. The committee are having pulao for lunch. So when I am talking about the committee are having, I am not taking the committee as one unit. I am talking about each and every member in that committee is having lunch, is having pulao for lunch. Okay. So I hope you can make out the difference between the two sentences. Here, committee, I am talking about the committee is like one whole group. The whole committee was formed. Okay. The first sentence, I am not talking about each and every person in the committee. I am talking about the whole group, whole committee as one unit. But here, when I am talking, the committee are having, I am talking about each and every person in the committee is having so and so for lunch. Okay. So here it is not taken as a whole, but here I am talking about each and every individual in that committee. So it is going to take a plural verb. I hope you try to understand. I hope you understand the difference between the two sentences. Here it is one unit, and here I am talking about each and every individual in that unit. Next. An average family consists of 4 people. Family. What is the collective noun over here? Family. So when I am talking about family, an average family consists. Now it is in the singular form. So I am not talking about each and every member in the family. I am talking about the family as one group, as one unit. Okay, the family consists of 4 people. Okay, the average, an average family consists of 4 people. So I am not talking about each and every member in the family. I am taking that family, that whole family, that collective noun as one unit. So the verb also should be singular. But look at the next sentence. The team hopes to win the next match. The team hopes to win the next match. Here, I am not talking about the team as one unit. I am talking about each and every player. I am talking about each and every player in that team is hoping. Okay, and what they are hoping for? They are hoping to win the next match. So here team is a collective noun. Obviously team is a collective noun. But in this sentence I am not taking the team as collectively. I am talking about each and every player, each and every member in that team. They are hoping, or they are hoping for something nice. They are hoping to win the match. Okay, so here hope is in the plural form. Isn't it? What is the singular form of hope? Hopes. Isn't it? So here it is in the plural form because the team hope to win the next match. Hope is in the plural form because I am talking about each and every player in the team is hoping for the winning in the next match. Okay, so I hope you understand. Now this is singular because committee is taken as one whole unit. Here again family is taken as one whole unit. So the first and the third sentences are singular. but the second and fourth sentences are plural. Why? Because I am talking about each and every member in the committee is having so and so lunch. I am telling each and every player in the team is hoping for something good. Okay, so try to understand. So whenever you see a collective noun in the sentence, I request you all to find out. You have to make out whether that collective noun is been considered or is been taken as one whole unit, or it is we're talking about each and every member, each and every individual in that collective noun. Okay. So there are some more collective noun which can take the verb in the singular or in the plural form. Which are they? Here are some more examples of collective nouns that can be considered singular or plural, which may take a singular or a plural verb. So next time when you see such kind of collective nouns in the sentences, directly just don't take a singular verb. Read the sentence, try to understand whether it is talking about one whole unit or it is taking the individuals, the people individually in the unit. So which are the words? Collective noun: choir, a group of singers; class, company; jury, school; staff, union; government; club. Okay, these are some more examples of collective noun which takes this verb in the singular or in the plural form as per the requirement of the sentences. So here we end up with all the rules that governs or that dictates the correct usage of verb. I hope you understand each and every rule. Try to recall all the rules and try to frame some more sentences for each and every the rules as per the rules. Now next I have a few sentences for you. You just yes. Here is a small exercise for you all people. There are 10 sentences. Try to, now these 10 sentences are all based on the 13 rules that we have done, that we have studied just now. Try to recall all the rules and try to look at the examples, because examples make the concept really very clear for you all. So try to read the examples, try to look at the rules, try to read the examples, try to understand and solve this 10 sentences. The answers are already given here. You have to choose the right answer. One is in the singular and the other one is a plural form. Try to select the correct answer and fill in the blanks. Okay. I hope you have understood the lesson. Thank you.